Hello, ladies and gents. Thanks for coming and listening to the Leon LeGray podcast, and which is brought to you by me. And today, before we begin today's episode, I want to just go ahead and give you a word from our sponsors. And one of the three sponsors I want to bring up is one I use every single day, and this browser is called Brave. Brave browser. I use this browser on a daily basis more so than Google, Chrome, or Mozilla's Firefox. Why I like it is because that, well, for one, I like the privacy and freedom that I know that I'm not going to be spied on, and there's no one that's going to check up all my browser history or track all my cookies. That's the truth. And behind anything around it, I like a sense of freedom when it comes to browsing. And the best part about Brave is that you can use Brave's private window, which has Tor. It comes with Tor on it too, and that's the great thing about Brave. It comes with Tor and a lot of things that you're going to see on Brave, especially with Brave's built-in Chrome's extensions that you use, and plus, it is it has Chromium features built into it because it has open source stuff, which it comes with some of its Google's feature. But the thing about it is that it is a great browser, and it's nothing compared to Google's Chrome, even though it has some functionalities on it and it does look very, very similar to Google's Chrome, except you're not using Chrome. You're using a Brave. And it's definitely easy for anyone that have used Chrome in the past. It is easy for anyone to look into Brave. I use it all the time, and it is fantastic. If you wanted to use it and do find a bit of privacy in your life, by all means, check down the link below too. Tons of features out there, and that you can use with Brave, and it's always improving each and every single month. Check it out and click on the referral link if you want to support me from there. Then my other sponsor, which is Blubrry. 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 Blubrry is a fantastic hosting provider. And if you are looking to host your podcast anywhere, Blubrry is an excellent choice. I've used Blubrry for statistics reasons, and I love it where it tracks all the downloads, who's downloading your podcast, where whoever it is, probably from Europe or from America, Africa, whoever it is. There's always a listener out there too. And Blubrry does provide great decent price each and every single month for all the individual users, or if you are a pro or using it for corporate reason for to podcast your company's for companies purposes, by all means, it works well for everybody. Check out Blubrry. The last and not least is a hosting provider I use, which is called Podbean. Podbean is a wonderful hosting provider too. The best part about Podbean is that you can live stream your audio onto Podbean, or have your recording, have your audio recordings through Podbean hosted right there, which is easy and fantastic. Podbean has been around on the podcast game for so long, back in 2006. It's been there for so long, and I recommend anyone that is wanting to start up podcasting, and which you can go and use Podbean, which is a fantastic way to start, and no doubt about it too. Give Podbean a try if you want, and I'll have all the affiliate codes down below, so if you want to check them out. Alrighty, guys, let's get started with the show. Let's get right on it. Hello, everybody. Thanks for listening and coming back to episode 122. If you are listening to this podcast for the very first time, I hope you enjoy it. And thanks again for coming in and listening to episode 122 of the Leon LeGray podcast. Your host, as always, Leon LeGray. Hello, everybody. I hope you're enjoying this fine weekend and this fine day here on Monday. And I am recording on a Sunday, having it post Monday morning, 6 a.m. And I hope y'all are doing fantastic. So here I am. I am doing well. So last couple of days, I want to just go ahead and let everybody know that I haven't been posting as recently because of business I've had to take care for my brother's store, and which his card store of Final Fantasy TCGs was actually pretty massive. To be quite honest, it was a huge amount of orders having to put away and have it 772 cards sent to a buyer in Hawaii. And holy crap, it was a lot of cards, and that's why I didn't have the time to stop and make a recording. And so it's like, oh my god, really a big headache. And also that drove me bananas, not having to do a podcast, keep up with everything I wanted to keep up with, and talk and do sort of commentaries that I wanted to do over the week in technology and things like that too. And one of the things I will say, while I was away this week, and it took me 5 days to pile up everything and have everything sent out to Hawaii. And yesterday on Saturday, I finally got wrapped up and got it sent. Gave it to the postmaster. So finally, that was done. Thank goodness. And so one of the things I will say that came to mind, that while I was working on my brother's TCG store, or trading card game store online over on tcgplayer.com, which for those that don't know, you can buy all your TCGs out there too. And if you guys are interested in looking for my brother's store, or if you're a Final Fantasy fan yourself, I'll put the link where you can find the store on the search. And my brother's store name is WayfarerTCG, all in caps. W in caps, Wayfarer, and TCG in caps. So you'll find it right there. I'll have the link down below. So unless you guys are interested in Final Fantasy. So one of the tech news I would say, it has to do with hardware related. While I was working on my brother's card, is one of the things that came was the PlayStation 5 reveal. One of the things I will say is the PlayStation 5, I would say, extremely impressive. I didn't see the whole reveal, and I didn't get the time to put the time to see how many releases were out for the new next generation consoles. Now the PlayStation 4 is heading to a 8-year lifeline, which very impressed with PlayStation 4. I almost figured it would be much shorter of a lifeline, but then I noticed that it's like, I haven't been into the console entry for a very long time, and plus consoles has gone so high in price. And one of the things many people are asking themselves, and one of the things I would say, it's actually a really good reason, like, how much is it going to be when the PlayStation 5 is going to come out? What are the price points? And one of the two things that it was actually mentioned was how much is going to be the PlayStation 5 version, and compared to the PlayStation 5 digital version, so or the digital edition, excuse me. And so that was one thing that everybody online was talking about, how much it's going to be, because I know rumor has it, or people are kind of speculating on the price point, on how much on the prices, and they're expecting that the disc version is going to be around 800, which I don't necessarily think it's going to be that high as people are speculating to be. 800. I mean, first of all, that's a huge way to break the bank, and nobody in their right mind is going to spend enormous amount of money for a console, 800. So And however, if it was me speculating now, I would say about 600 or so. Digital version probably much less. And I would say that the majority of the time is that people are now embracing digital more than ever. And for one reason or the other is that a lot of people are not going to stores anymore. Everybody is staying at home. And yes, people are going to be seeing each other, and I think that's a good reason for sure. And don't get me wrong, like PlayStation local play is, I'm sure that there's going to be games supporting local two-player local play, two-screen versions, which is great. Like the things that you've pretty much see on back on the PlayStation 1, PlayStation 2 era, like the split screen that you get that you and a friend can play in one screen, which is pretty beautiful, I should say. Now, it is cool that that how the PlayStation hardware, the new PS5 is going to look like. It looked pretty terrestrial, like a very alien like. And honestly, though, I remember how people have said that, the PlayStation 4 design hardware looked like a black eraser. And I have to say, I totally disagree on that. And though, because I know Sony has brought in versions of the PlayStation, like the white console and other colors of the PlayStation 2 and limited edition versions of it. I will say that it is good that they're going to be making a step to the right direction when it's going it's going, and plus they're going to start having a good head start over Microsoft. Now, nothing that I've heard over at the Microsoft camp as of recently, since I haven't catched up with Microsoft and Sony. And Sony, that was like the only thing that I've been catching up over, pretty much beyond anything over my Twitter feed. But that was just about it too. Now, hardware-wise or tech news-wise, that's pretty much the only thing I have to say that I caught up this week. And for instance, I will be keeping up, for one thing, like Android is supposed to be coming out with Android version 11 some point later on. I know the beta for Google Android 11, it's already here for beta testers out there. So if you're a beta tester, try it out while you can right now. So that's the only thing I've heard, but I haven't catched up with so many news lately because of my busy week wrapping up cards. Now let's go ahead and talk about the games. The games in general, I think the games are going to be superb. Now, I think it is luscious and glorious, and the graphics are going to be nice. I mean, first of all, PlayStation games were all about the high-end 3D graphics. And though when I was looking at the games over in my 720p monitor, on my Dell monitor, I'm doing my recording right now. Now, if I've had a high resolution monitor, I'm sure that it would make a world difference between the resolutions. And since I have my Mac connected via DVI connection through a Dell monitor, I know that it's not gonna look too pretty. So yeah, that's pretty much about that too. Now, the rest I will say is that for one of the things that this came to mind, I know that a lot of people aren't going to look into pricing, and in many of the times, pricing is not going to matter for gaming. A lot of people can spend, since it has been 8 years since the PlayStation's 4 release since 2013. That's one of the things I kind of question. It's like, well, I don't know if we're really, really ready to jump on purchasing on new hardware as of yet. And for one, consoles are extremely expensive, like I've said. And who is going to be making a huge purchase at this time? And to me, the smart thing I would say, if anything else, wait it out till the price points go down for the PlayStation 5, and probably wait until it goes down to 300 or 200, and most likely you'll get your value right there too, instead of spending the full price on on a console. Now I think that's wonderful and great. I think you'll get something out of the console, and I think sure there's plenty of value to see right there too. And gosh, man, the consoles are definitely making such a huge switch. It's making such a huge which for me, a lot of people are gonna definitely go digital. And why I'm gonna say that is because the disc is not going to be really relevant as people are saying to be. And I know for a while I have said that I will definitely stick with disc for a lot for much longer. Which, however, a lot of people have faced issues going through digital because there's been a huge difference. But when it comes down to it as well, you really do not have to have disk anymore, and the hard drives are bigger, and you can store more things. When now you have hardware that or the SSDs that now which is faster, then also adding to it too the terabytes, which holds 1,000 gigabytes and over, which is a lot of storage to hold on it too. And I mean, before you didn't have to. I mean, there was a reason to have disc because if you were to download a disc, it will pretty much take so much space off the hard drive of your console. Nowadays, I can definitely see the switch being permanently digital. Now, on the other hand, physical, some will be able to touch on physical for collectors' reasons, but for me, I don't see the excitement having to go to a game store anymore and purchase on a brand new copy of a game back when I was younger, right? And I remember the discs were a big thing, and you've had memory cards, right? And on the GameCube, PlayStation, and the one that didn't have memory cards were the Xbox, which had its own flash memory built into it too. And so I would say with that there was a reason to have this because many of those systems didn't have built-in HHD or bit HHD or SSD at the time. There really wasn't. Now, the landscape, I would say it has changed so much, and it is cool giving people a choice. Do you want a console with a physical CD drive, or you want one that doesn't have one? Either way, a lot of people are gonna get in with the digital, and how I see it, because it's gonna be much cheaper. If we have to be much honest about that, absolutely. And now, it's going to be pretty much of a collector's item, like the collectors that wants the disc. I can see the reasoning behind it. To me, I don't care too much about the collectors, the aesthetics anymore because of it. Though a long time ago I did, because the artwork and the value of any time you make a purchase on a collector's edition on a game, you get the disc, you get the statue of the character. I remember back when BioShock came out, there was a limited edition version which you purchased the game. Along with the game was artwork, the Big Daddy statue for the BioShock game, which was actually pretty cool. I love that. Nowadays, I don't think a lot of gamers are going to go for it too, unless if for any reason whatsoever they're going to be jumping right into purchasing collector's items, right? That's just not me anymore. And we're definitely looking in a brand new age on this is pretty much a brand new age of gaming, and a lot of people are seeing this really clearly as well. Now, however, I'm sure that with digital, I'm sure that not everybody likes to have everything digital, because for reasons, maybe is because they would rather take a game with them and play that game over to another friend's home. That's how I would see it. because you really cannot, unless if you were to take your PlayStation 5 or your PlayStation 5 profile with you and then play the, how should I put it, play that game over at your friend's place, there's a reason why I could see that right there too. Because let's say it's like, oh man, I want to play, my save games over at my friend's place, and you wanted to take it over with you. That would be great, right? And I remember on the PlayStation 2 where you had the memory unit, the little memory unit where it hold up to 8 MB of stored games right there, which was pretty cool, and I've actually liked it for the PlayStation 2. And let's say if you didn't want to lose your save games, you could just take that memory card with you and play over at a friend's place, which was actually really wonderful to have. Now, for me, the landscape has changed, and it looks like a lot of people with nowadays, I think with people staying at home a lot, and you've got pretty much have how many people connected to the internet? Like 80% of the United States are connected. Yeah, I mean, it's right now. It's a global network right now, so a lot of people are seeing such a huge shift to it. I mean, it's not like back in the days where you go over to a friend's place and you watch and play a console. I mean, it's not like that anymore. It really isn't. I mean, it's such a huge difference how it was back then when gaming. And I remember I've had the GameCube, PlayStation 2, and I have to say, extraordinary times for gaming back then in the early 2000s. Now, I wanted to go ahead and get on in my commentary on the presentation, the PlayStation 5 reveal event live stream. So it's been covered from all over game magazines and game blogs everywhere right now. So let's get onto it too. Now, I would say the graphics is very, very pretty. And a lot of the games that I've actually seen, like you have games that like I've seen sequels, a couple original titles, which I think it's very fantastic to start off. Which you have to have, of course, you have to have original titles to bring in the PlayStation 5, which is still you need to have you need to have that for sure. One of the titles, the original titles that came out, two things I did see was Returnal, which for me it looked like a sci-fi horror, but very much science fiction than horror. It's very like a psychological game. Now, it does look promising. I like I like where the game's going for sure. So, again, don't know how the gameplay is gonna look, how it's gonna look like. Unfortunately, it's just a trailer, right? So I didn't see much gameplay footage right there. So a lot of the games that I've seen were just mostly just trailers with very little gameplay presented, except for the Ratchet and Clank game that was shown on there too. It did look fantastic. I have to say, Ratchet and Clank was my game. I do actually still have the Ratchet and Clank game on my collection for PlayStation 2. It's still one of the best games on the PlayStation 2 lineup from Insomniac, which is, I'd say, it's really fantastic. The visuals, it blew me away with this one. It really did. For Rift Away, now we will definitely see how it's gonna look like for moving forward, and how it's gonna appear. Now, the games that came out, that's going to be coming out. So we're going to see some games towards the end of fall of 2020. And one of the things is that you're not going to see a lot of games for the PlayStation 5 until next year, 2021. So that's another year to go. That's just another thing right there. So you have to wait until another year. Plus, 2021 will be a better year, and you're not gonna have to spend on a big purchase. So, my predictions on this, to me, how I would see it, foresee it, that is the price will end up going down probably midsummer or late 2021 for the PS5, by no doubts. So I think everybody's gonna have to start waiting right there too, because look at it this way: we're definitely hitting on a recession, and if I was a buyer, if I was getting into gaming and wanted to get into the next generation consoles, let's just say, I wouldn't even purchase a PlayStation 5, because let's look at it this way: this is a luxury unit, and I don't think nobody's going to start putting the expense right now where we are headed right now. And look at all the gadgets that people are promoting in CES, that actually came out early this year. And by all means, it's not something that people needs right now too. And I look at all the 4K monitors, the 4K television, and now you got the television manufacturers are talking about 8K 8K definition, which that's way too early. And who the hell is going to spend the kind of money to place a 55-inch or 75-inch, for that matter, for a big ass TV, in which doesn't make a whole lot of sense to start spending while everybody will and not be able to find work as it is. And plus the hardware, for instance, in that matter. Now, I don't know how they didn't give too much details on the tech specs right there, how it's going to look like too. Now, however, I will have all the information down below on my blog for tomorrow's release, along with it too. Now, I haven't even read too much of it too, because I did look into the ports. One of the ports that they were showing on the PlayStation 5 was it's still going to have an Ethernet jack. So just like anything else, which is great. Well, I mean, I'm actually a huge fan of Ethernet jack over Wi-Fi. I don't need Wi-Fi. I could always use an Ethernet jack to connect my console. Bam, I'm connected throughout the day. And with Wi-Fi in their hand, like connecting via Wi-Fi 2.4 or 5 gigahertz, which that's not a big need. Let's put it this way: why would I want gaming via Wi-Fi? And I'm not a big fan of all. Now, if you are a new gamer and if you're going to encounter any issues, like for instance, I know a lot of people that's going to be purchasing the PlayStation 5, they're going to experience like port forwarding issues on connecting via the PlayStation. And that's one, because their internet service provider has blocked the Sony the Sony port, so you're going to have to go through looking for the ports over the PlayStation on the PlayStation website. So that's one thing too, because I remember when PlayStation 4 and Xbox X, I believe, that came out, or Xbox S, whatever the name of the console. But anyways, I don't keep up with Microsoft, so it's hard to bring myself together what the name is about. But anyways, I remember I was helping customers online, and I remember one of the first things you want to do when you are going to be connecting to the internet, you have to make sure that your ports are set up via the internet, and that way it is not closed. So whatever you do, you have to make sure that your ports are open to Sony's network, and that way your console is going to be connected just fine. And that's like the first thing I would do when you're trying to connect, because otherwise, if you're going to be encountering any issues, best thing to do is go and port forward your consoles. For very much the first thing. I'm just saying. But either way, I will say that next generation of console will be actually quite promising though. Now, however, I will say to all my audience over here, if you are a console gamer, I'd love to know how excited you are for next generation of consoles right here too. And I will be writing a full detail on PlayStation 5 for my next upcoming blog, and I'll have it posted down below on the description down below. So if anyone is interested, by all means, read my article on leonlegray.entry.blog. Again, it's leonlegray.entry.blog. So for more information, that's where you can go and read the full speculation and my opinion, my speculation, and the brief tech details, what I know from here on as well. But either way, we are definitely in our earlier stages, so we're not going to be expecting a price point probably later, late summer, early fall. My own speculation upon this too. So either way, that being said, I'm going to be looking forward to what's coming up in the future of gaming console, because it's going to be a very exciting time as well. Well, now I want to go ahead and switch gears onto another topic that on cryptography and crypto technology. Now, the world hasn't been just excited enough to see that. I'm actually have to say though, I have huge optimism of how you see a lot of younger people, especially me, the millennials and the Gen Xers, are going to look into going into crypto. And for one, I will see that this is the future of money. And for good reasons, for one way or the other, this is always a good reason to say that crypto is going to be taking over the banks. I assure you. I remember throughout the early days of Bitcoin, when it was just a single currency, talking about 2010, 11, 12, early in the 2010s, it was just nothing but Bitcoin. But then things started to develop, and like you have Litecoin, which is like on almost of a equivalent of silver, and then you have Ethereum that developed later on, and you've had so many cryptos developed moving over, so on and so forth. And now for me, it's hard to keep up with crypto technology, and I can't even tell or keep up how many cryptos there are. They're saying that it's now over 161 cryptocurrencies. And man, that's a lot of cryptos to catch up. I'll be quite honest, but I just don't know how many people are going to adapt to it too. Now, especially the boomers are going to stick with the banking system, and that's how they've always known about the banking, and they're not going to jump onto cryptos like the younger folks out there like me. And I will definitely look into investing in crypto. And with the recession, the recession has started more than 9 weeks ago. And I love how a lot of the investment companies or these Wall Street people on Wall Street said, "Oh, we just started we're now here in a recession." I mean, see, we haven't started a recession just recently. We've had a recession for over 9 weeks ago. And that we haven't seen anything like that for a very long time too. And now the markets are getting shaky, and now as far as I can see that the money printing press of the magicians over at the Federal Reserve continues to print more money. I think it's going to be obvious that a lot of people are not going to stick their money into a bank anytime, and and for good reasons. I would say that get your monies off the bank. Be self-reliant. Be protect your wealth. That's I would say, and I'm very happy where this is going to be going. And one of the new currencies that came up was actually Hex, the HEX, and I've actually watched some interviews over the creator of Hex. And now a lot of people have in the crypto space have bashed Richard, the person that created Hex, as saying, "Oh, this is a joke. How is this going to work?" And yada yada yada, right? And so I've listened to his interview, and for me, he sounds very confident that this is going to sell. So I think the more people hate on new cryptocurrencies and don't do the research, I think a lot of people are gonna say, "Oh, this is just a big scam right off the bat," and nobody wants to take note and discover things themselves. And while at the same time, just to point out these idiots right there, wants to point out, well, how robust is this currency? How is this gonna outcompete cryptos such as Bitcoin, Litecoin, Ethereum, all those coins out there too that have started early on? And so, to me, it's gonna happen too. And it looks like Hex is gonna be, it looks like it's gonna be in a big rise. I know last week, all the cryptos were down, including the precious metals like silver, gold. All the precious metals were down last week too. And I will say that when people don't save on things that they should be saving on right now throughout a time of recession, because everything going on like the coronavirus, the and the economic issues that's been happening. One of the things I would say is that if you don't invest in crypto right now too, I think a lot of people are missing out. And my reason I say that so many people are just missing out because that people are not looking in how potential cryptocurrency is right now. And so many people are using smartphones to make payments and much, much more, and on a daily basis. Look at it this way too. While the fiat currency is losing so much money on value in all over the world, U.S., euros, krones, the pound, and they're getting beat up so bad. And how bad this is getting, quite honestly with you, this is not a joke. And I think we're definitely going to be seeing not just continue on with just a recession, but I see this continue on over of a depression, just as worse than the first depression from the 1930s. And so it's going to be a hard hit for the United States looking on forward. And so I see why many people are not going to stick into central banking anymore, as much as all of us have to rely on the bank to pay the bills and all that stuff. I think it's going to have to change one way or the other. I think the way we're going to be living, it's going to have to change for real. And that's no question about it too. And I think people are going to have to look at it this way in a very new light where we're going at it too. And I think like I said, cryptocurrencies, Ethereum, Hex, the new currency that's been around, I could see that being as useful as a lot of the crypto guys are mocking up on it as a scam. Now, the first thing you'll see is that probably it'll have a potential on it too. And a lot of people are not going to look the other way. I know that. But you have to keep an open mind that many of the crypto space and the crypto guys talking about this right now too, I see this as being the future. I mean, the boomers are not going to last long to use crypto, and the cryptocurrencies are going to be where like people like my age, the millennial and the Gen Z age are going to be using it. I mean, a lot of the Gen Zers or Gen Zers they're pretty much at a time like between 15 and early 20s right now. So, I mean, I'm right now on my late 20s. You look at it this way, and this is going to be a very presidential time of our life very present time of our life using something brand new. And cryptocurrencies like Bitcoin has only been around like it's like 10 years right now. So looking at it this way, this is very, very important to follow the trends while you can. And especially I myself been using Brave. And Brave, I feel very comfortable and confident that Brave will be taking over, but probably within the 5 year range, but not in the short run, of course, because a lot of people are using like mainstream browsers like Chrome, Firefox, Edge, Opera, all these unsecure browsers. Now, you do have plugins and stuff like where you can help you protect yourself, but again, it's not secure, and I won't get into further details on it as far as that go. But with Brave, I mean, your time is very important, and at least with crypto, the crypto, at least right there, I can see all the cryptocurrencies are going to be jumping as high as probably like one crypto I will say, for example, like LBC, the library currency, LBRY. Now right now the currency at this point, it's like $2 for 85.88 LBC. Now let's see, however, if I don't spend on anything on any LBC and I save it up for exchanges and whatever, right? And by the time we hit our economic situation gets much worse, and we're definitely going to see the cryptos skyrocketing, including precious metals, and with while fiat is gaining busted. So look at it this way: this is going to be the best time you'll ever get into cryptos, and I think people are missing out on the opportunity itself. And I would never suggest anyone anything. You just got to do the research, know what you're doing, because this is honestly, for the young guys like me, a pretty much a brave new world that everybody's going to have to get into as well. And for me, I am going to be studying on cryptography, cryptocurrencies. I mean, this is going to be new. And I don't know, like the other cryptos like Dash, Montrego, Digibyte, all these other currencies. I don't even know how all of them work. But the best way you want to get into anything, of course, is to study on cryptocurrencies, what the value, what they do, things like that too. And one of the other news I will ending up in this footnote on the podcast here is, for one, I know a lot of people and a lot of governments are not happy where this new technology is arising. Very recently, there was a guy called Rob Tech. I will actually put the description down below over on his library channel so everybody can watch. Now, India, they're being threatened by this new currency like Bitcoin. And then you have like Eastern European countries like Estonia. While you have other European countries that are being very open about bringing a brand new currency. I think this is a wonderful technology, but then you have governments that are being threatened by new technologies like this, and they know, however, they're not liking it. And India is one of the most important countries, technological wise. What the guy have said before was they've tried to ban Bitcoin in the past, and the Indian government was not successful. Now they're starting this out again, second time in a row, banning Bitcoin. Now, I don't know what's the sense of the Indian government want to do. I guess what they want people to do is keep them in this enslaved money supply, keeping them in the rupees, which you look at the rupees, I'm sure that the Indian rupee is just as bad or just getting slaughtered. So having to keep rupees for the long haul for the Indians, not so much. mean, what the ban that they're enslaving right now is that if you were trying to hold any cryptocurrency or trade cryptos, use it for purchase or are mining anything, you're going to get a 10-year fine. That's a very harsh sentence. You look at it, it's very, very harsh. That's something I don't understand, where how they can just do that. Unfortunately, India, as any other nation, are pretty screwed up on brand when it comes to brand new technology. A country like that are very screwed up. Let's put it this way. I won't want to add anything else to it too. But either way, that's the only crypto news that came up to this week. And overall, it was mostly about PlayStation news, and I wanted to talk about that further on from here too. And very much so, I'm very glad that I went ahead and took the time to podcast, get myself a recording Sunday so I can get published on Monday. So guys, if you have some time, put a review on iTunes, Google, I was going to say Google Play, but if you want to put a review on Google Play or Google Podcast or any of your podcast services of your choice, that would be very lovely too. And last but not least too, if you want to support me on my work or anything like that too, I have a Q5, so if you want to support me from here, throw down a Q5. So by all means, that helps the show a lot in the future. So anyways, folks, you guys have a wonderful, wonderful rest of the day. Take care. Ciao. Thanks for listening.